Well, good afternoon, my dear viewer. Just to show you I am not stoned. And by the way, this is not marijuana. zAiDiBoY here, very happy to be with you. Finally, it's been forever. It's been forever. I've had so many phone issues. I just moved to Calgary. We're actually at Marlborough Mall here in Calgary. So I'm visiting from Toronto, and yeah, man. So you know, I've been waiting and wanting to. Make a video for so long. It's like I have so much to say. So I mean, essentially, I smoked weed, you know, in university, and stopped, as it were, sold software in the Fortune 500 space for 10 years, and for the last 5-10 years, like at least 5 years, you know, I've been doing my own internet marketing. And these YouTube videos, among other things, obviously it's a mode of expression. For me, it's also catharsis. Because what happened is I basically smoked weed. You know, I basically left the corporate world and went into, you know, I started working. Oh God. The doors, eh? The doors of perception open wide. You know what? It's not that bad out here. I thought it would be kind of loud. It's not that loud. So, you know, I smoke tobacco, just tobacco, right? Like tobacco, natural tobacco. So, like, the purpose of this video, I mean, I'm gonna call it something like mad rantings of a bipolar sand nigger, more or less. Like the whole bipolar thing. So when I smoke weed, it induces so-called mania, bipolar mania. Now, in university, I went to the University of Bridgeport from 1994 to 98, Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, minoring in Computer Science, and obviously a lot of Russian friends, a lot of international students, scholarship student, by the way, full scholarship, 4 years, 80 grand. Room, board, and very, very bored in some of the classes, obviously. And, you know, meals, dorm, everything. The only thing we had to pay for was books and then health insurance and city miscellaneous stuff. So when I say weed, so the University of Bridgeport basically, you know, had like a basically majority. There's the beautiful C train. That's where we're headed next, in fact. You know, so basically we've got to get on the C train and go downtown. I thought I would share the experience with you. This is the lovely or not so lovely, depending on your perspective, as with everything else, Marlborough Mall here in Calgary. So this is 36th Street, one of the main thoroughfares. Nice, quiet place, you know, Cowtown, as opposed to Hogtown, Toronto, where I'm from, right? Calgary's like a slice of heaven. I keep telling people out here that they have it really good. And if any Calgarians are watching or stumble upon this, or if you know anyone from Calgary, tell them to vote Nenshi. He's a good guy, and I'm not just saying that because he's a sand nigger. Anyway, go for it, man. You got the gas guzzler. Right? Whatever that means. So I'm happy. I've been having so many phone issues, right? And yeah, man, it's like it's nice to be able to talk to you guys again, whoever watches this. I mean, even if I get 5 people who watch this, I mean, I got videos in the thousands of views. My most acclaimed, I would say, I dare say to date, is Colombian graffiti. Okay, I went to Colombia. My wife is Colombiana. She's on a cruise ship somewhere, God knows where, off the coast of San Fran. Last I heard of her, she was visiting her niece in San Francisco. She went up to Alaska and then down to San Francisco. She's actually a hairstylist. You know, very, very world-class hairstylist. I mean, she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. And, you know, if she cuts your hair once, dear viewer, then you will never be happy with another hairstylist again. And that's really my job as well as a consultant. You know, if you work with me and I earn your trust and you see what I do for you, I'll go to the ends of the earth to obviously achieve whatever results or outcome we've set forth. In the marketing domain, that's basically more customers or whatever metrics you're measuring your success based on. It's all marketing is metrics, obviously. So you know, C-Train, hello. And so yeah, man, so like average marketer, dear user, basically wants you to pay them to create some nice shiny PDF or collateral, or you know, some glossy something website, or that's all rubbish. Anyone can do that. A kid with Adobe Photoshop can do that. Smile, guys, it's Calgary, it's Canada, it's nice weather. It's multiculturalism, right? Anyway, right, and you guys are living a good life, eh? Thank God for that stuff. Stop being so fearful. I put a video out once. I got a whole playlist of atheist videos, and you know, I have this habit. Like right now, I've been stressed, and before coming to Calgary, I confess I hadn't been smoking weed for a long time, and I was so stressed out and depressed and all this kind of rubbish, and I just went nuts. I just binged for a week, and obviously, what with the preparations to come back to Calgary and packing and all this rubbish, basically got to a point where, you know, the stress is what pushes you over the edge. So, you know, any person basically, you know, if you push their buttons, right, you push their buttons, like the stress of life or what have you. And that's really what sales and marketing is about too. It's about pushing people's buttons. I mean, I like to say some people laugh, some people cry, some people get angry, right? You know, that's what it is. There's my dream car, by the way. And I should, like the way things are going, things are finally beginning to come together for me in terms of the internet marketing aspect. And, you know, I'm getting a book published and all kinds of stuff. I'm actually working on the new project, which is an import-export company. Packimports.ca, P-A-K, as in Packy. So we're starting with hunting knives. They're really amazing. And so I've been hitting up stores here in Calgary, like outdoor stores and knives and whatnot. And, you know, this is hunting and fishing in cowboy territory. So it's hopefully a nice little sweet spot that I can juice for what it's worth. Wait for YouTube, man. Looking good, bro. Yeah, man. So yeah, I mean, basically I'm slightly chattery, right? And the problem is this. I mean, I'm going around in circles. I don't expect people to watch this. I'm already, oh shit.
You got me on camera or something?
I'm just a YouTuber. Sorry, man. I'm so sorry about that. Bro, I didn't mean any offense, eh? Sorry about that, bro. Shit, you scared the fuck out of me right now, bro. Whoa, that was hardcore, huh? That's what happens. He's like, don't put the camera on me. He's a street dude, right? But you know, he didn't force me to delete it. I mean, I've been in situations in the past where people have gotten mad. Like I'll get on a bus or something and I'll start filming and people will be like, well, don't put me on camera. Well, listen, you're outdoors in public already, right? There's cameras everywhere, right? So some idiot with a camera shouldn't. What's the big deal? Like, I don't understand. It's like so stupid. It's like, who cares? You're out in public, right? And so you're probably on camera anyway. Anyway, so it's Canada. It's the land of privacy. What's going on? Hey, man. How you doing? Wait for YouTube. All right. Okay, so that's Calgary for you. Anyway, so yeah, here we go. So there's a C train. Now we got to deal with all the traffic noise. So I'll take a little detour through the parking lot here, just to you know, just to get away from the traffic. So for me, these videos are catharsis. Okay, so every person wants to express themselves. Okay, not just an artist, everyone. That's the reason you talk to people, right? That's the reason we interact. That's like the most, like Freud said this. Freud called it something like the desire to be important, to desire to feel important. I would say it's the desire to be understood, the desire to express your innermost feelings, right? Thoughts and feelings, and have them validated. Okay, so it's existentialism. I've been listening to a lot of Jordan Peterson videos. I really urge you to do the same, dear viewer. Jordan Peterson is a professor of psychology at the University of Toronto. Oh my God, I'm at 10 minutes. I feel so good. Seriously, just pulling this stupid thing out and doing my thing. Doesn't even matter if people watch this or not. The point is that I get to get the gunk out of my system, dear viewer. Jordan Peterson is a professor of psychology at the University of Toronto. And he's a celebrity now, more or less. I mean, he's garnering like in the hundreds of thousands of views on his YouTube channel. And he also, you know, he's hooked up with Patreon, P-A-T, Peter Alpha Tango, Romeo, Echo, October Nancy, Patreon. So you can be a patron of the arts, right? And you can support people like Jordan Peterson doing their thing. I might be on there someday, perhaps, you know, if I can get things together and get the ball rolling in that direction. It doesn't really matter. The point is to do your thing, right? To do your thing. That's the preeminent thing. And then obviously human nature, right? And the need to be understood. So existentialism and Jordan Peterson. So existentialism is essentially summarized by the concept, quote unquote, being in time. And I had a buddy, right? So I actually went through the shelter system in Toronto. I mean, I'm a Fortune 500 superstar salesperson, account manager, did that for 10 years, made hundreds of thousands of dollars, whatever, right? But at the same time, started smoking weed, had all these mental health issues, I guess is what it is, right? So smoking weed is, like, I like to say that, like, you know, weed is not a drug because A, it's not synthetic, it's not dangerous, it's not addictive, and it's not intoxicating. Not like alcohol. You drink alcohol and it's like we say back home in Pakistan, you don't know the difference between your mom and your sister, etc. I mean, what it means is, like, you know, you have this Pakistani swear word everyone knows, ban chod, sister copulator, let's say. So I guess what it is basically when you drink, you really don't know your arse from your elbow, as they say in the UK. And what it boils down to is with weed, it's different. Weed, I like to say, is like an expander. It expands everything. It expands all your appetites. You're hungrier, you're hornier. You know, you see things differently, right? Your creative mind and all these kinds of things. And so, see, unfortunately for a person such as myself, you know, perhaps you might say naturally creative or what have you, the thing actually is too much. It was too much for my brain to handle. So, you know, smoking all this weed essentially gets to a point where the THC or whatever accumulates, and basically I begin to exhibit what has been characterized or basically diagnosed as bipolar syndrome or bipolar whatever it is. Now, if I don't smoke weed, I'm fine, and there's just a little caveat that you need to throw in there, which is the aspect of heartbreak. So when I was at university from 94 to 98 at UB, University of Bridgeport, Connecticut, best time of my life. It's one of the only campuses in the States which actually is on the water. It's on the waterfront. It's amazing. You come out of your dorm and there's Long Island Sound and there's ferries going back from Port Jefferson to the Sound and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, there was Seaside Park, and we'd be walking around at 3 in the morning, tripping on acid or mushrooms or what have you, right? Like, just out of our brains. And it wasn't, see, there's two kinds of drug users, or maybe 3 or 4 or 5, who knows? Obviously, there's people who are seeking pleasure, okay? Then there's people who are seeking to escape pain. You know, big difference, escapism, right? When the stress becomes too much, we fall back on our addictions. And so you've got, you know, food or If you're lucky, it's something like work, right? But you need to just throw yourself into something, because once again, going back to existentialism, the unbearable pain of being, just being. So being in time, right? So all we know is that, you know, you and I, dear viewer, we are awareness. We're consciousness, right? So you know that you exist. It's like Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. The real deal is not I think, therefore I am. The real deal is I am and I think, right? Thinking is actually optional. I am. You are. You know, you are aware. So you might say, I'm aware, therefore I am. Okay, so you exist. What is you? Like, you might be a brain in a jar. You know, you might be like the Matrix. Like what we know is that there's a brain. I've been over this before, but it's worth repeating. And it's like, people are like, what's up with philosophy? It says garbage questions. It's not. It's your programming. It's the value structure that your behavior and your proclivities and your life and your personality is based on. So if you do not take time, it's like Aristotle said, an unexamined life is not worth living, right? So basically, you know, you might ask a question, why do I keep doing the same thing? Or why do I keep manifesting the same things in my life? Why do I keep attracting the wrong people? Or why do I keep ending up in the same kind of situation? Hummer alert. Humvee alert. I gotta come up with something for Humvees, eh? It's like the ultimate bad boy toy. But at the same time, like, oil and all this garbage is the reason that our planet's been destroyed. Anyway, dear user, you are, okay? And you think. It's not I think, therefore I am. It's like I am and I think. I am aware, therefore I am. So you know that you exist, okay? You know that the world at large exists, whatever that is. Now there's a brain. There's a brain. Everything that you can touch, feel, see, all of this. It's like the Pink Floyd song, the line from the Pink Floyd song. Everything you touch and all you see is all your life will ever be. So it's experience. So you are awareness, essentially, and you're experiencing the world at large. And it's called being in time, from what I surmise, because, you know, time is like an incessant flow of events, things that are happening. So your awareness or your consciousness, you're just some kind of disembodied consciousness out there. Okay? Now, what is out there? Who knows what's out there? Like, for instance, all these people and everyone in your world, dear user, they may or may not exist from an objective perspective. This is very important because 98% of us, okay, spend 98% of our energy, right, tuned into others, whatever that means, like what we think other people are thinking or something like this. Whereas in actual fact, none of these people may be real from an objective perspective. I may be imagining them. They may be a hallucination, or they may be a blip in the matrix. We know there's a brain, apparently, okay? So there's this brain. Everything that you touch and feel and see, all of this stuff, objective reality, the sounds, everything, it seems real, but all that is chemical reactions taking place in your brain. So ultimately, there may not be anything other than a brain. And that brain may be in a jar, or that brain may be in some kind of cocoon or whatever, cubicle, being sucked like in the Matrix is what I'm trying to describe. So essentially, you're dreaming what you consider objective reality, and it's a spiritual thing too. It's like Japanese people say that life is a dream within a dream within a dream. Anyway, you know, and there's obviously all these branches of lucid dreaming and weirdness like that. So we got to go down the way here and get a ticket. We're going to go downtown. We've got two missions. First of all, just to give you an idea of the craziness of this kind of mindset. On my way from Toronto, I basically lost, as it were, my wife and my Jeep car. We had a beautiful 2004 paid off, I might add, Jeep Liberty. So like a $40,000 car. So I drive this thing downtown, and then I'm like, whoa, I just can't be driving right now. I park it, okay, and like I had my longboard with me or whatever, and I boarded around. I had a couple of things to do, but ultimately I lost the car. I lost it. I couldn't find it. And so right now, like the towing company that has the City of Toronto contract, they have our car, JP Towing, right? And I've called them a bunch of times. They've reamed me out, I've reamed them out or whatever. They've hung up on me, and you know, it's just been a whole bunch of bad blood. And my silly wife is on a goddamn cruise ship, right? And I can't get a hold of her, and it's just major stress and anxiety. Unfortunately, I did the same thing here in Calgary. Borrowed my nephews, so my brother's adopted son, or his stepson, or what have you, borrowed his bike, took it downtown, and locked it somewhere, and have no idea where I put it. So mission number A, dear viewers, to go downtown, find the bike, okay? Mission number B is, you know, God is great. I had issues with my family here. I came to visit my parents. My mom has early stage Alzheimer's or early stage dementia or something like this. And, you know, it worked out for the best. God is great. But, you know, unfortunately, I was, you know, still, I don't know what to say. I wasn't in the right frame of mind, and there was a lot of arguments, and it wasn't working out because my brother's living in the house with his family, his wife, and his, once again, adopted son who's 13. And my elder brother was visiting from Dubai. My mom's there, and she's very sensitive right now in her you know, emotional and physiological state of being, and the whole thing didn't work out. And so, anyway, like basically, we were having an argument, and I decided to sleep in the garage or jam in the garage. I have my guitar in there, and you know, I was playing it loud one time, and neighbors are getting mad and all this rubbish. Eventually, the cops are called, and I was like, shit, I'll just go back to Toronto. So they took me to like this hotel. It's called the Airport Quality Inn or some rubbish. It's nowhere near the airport, by the way. Nice enough place, I guess, for what it's worth. Unfortunately, the cops were called again because I got into this like this verbal, you know, obviously conflict with my sister-in-law. Now she's a lovely, awesome person, and if she watches this, I want to give you props, Hannah, because you're the bomb, and you know I feel this way, and I'm not just saying this. You know that I know how you know how much you've done and what you've suffered through, and you know what kind of great qualities you've exhibited vis-a-vis taking care of the house, taking care of my family, or whatever, doing your thing. You're an awesome mom, an awesome wife, an awesome you know, what is this thing? Home organizer. Hey, listen, on a very quick side note, dear user, hashtag Muslim, hashtag Islam. Women are superior in Islam. Okay, Fatima wa abuha wa ba'luha wa bunuha. Fatima, so what is Islam? Islam is Fatima and her dad, as in Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his family, wa ba'luha, and her husband, as in Imam Ali, the first Imam who's the successor of Prophet Muhammad, you know, after the Holy Prophet passed away, peace be upon them all, as in the family of Holy Prophet. You know, like the Shias, so the difference between Shias and Sunnis is that we follow the family of Prophet Muhammad. Fatima wa abuha wa ba'luha wa bunuha. Fatima, her dad, her husband, and her sons. So woman is the centerpiece. And I'm not just saying that. There's no question about superiority and inferiority. A man is just like a savage beast, essentially. And any dude who stands there talking to you about like superiority of women, just kindly remind him where he came from, which is in fact from a woman. Anyway, I'm rambling a bit. Let's go get our ticket. So anyway, so second time the cops were called. So he knows, like, okay, you know, you got to get out of here. And it's like my house. I paid like $2,500 as part of the down payment when we bought the house. Not to mention sending my dad thousands of dollars over the year, and obviously that's quid pro quo. You know, I send him money when I'm making money, and if I ever need money, he'll send me money. It works both ways. That's the way it is with it's the way it should be with families, right? There's no you and me when it comes to my dad or my mom. Your mom and dad have given you everything, and they've put up with untold hardships and all this kind of rubbish just to get you to a point where you can actually, you get to a point where you're basically bad mouthing them and all this kind of rubbish, right? In any case, I'm rambling here a bit, but Hina was like, my sister-in-law was like, well, listen, I'm going to call the cops or some rubbish, and you know, when I left the corporate world, sold software for 10 years once again, worked for Oracle, Computer Associates, all this kind of good stuff. Technologist. Ever since I started internet marketing or trying to do my own thing, quote unquote, whatever that turns out to be, and you know, it's coming together really good, thank God. God is great. So I'm standing here rambling to you. People think I'm an idiot and slightly insane or whatever, but I also have people on my YouTube channel, on various blogs, clicking on ads. ClickBank pays me, Udemy pays me. You know, I'm getting set up with Amazon right now. People are making a killing on Amazon. I've been avoiding it for years, but I'm going to get into that stuff too. So you have little, you know, it's like what they say. You diversify you have diversified streams of income, and you know it adds up, and it adds up to a point where, like right now, without even batting an eyelid, I'll make at least $1,000, if not $1,200 a month, right? That's enough for me to survive on. I've got a nice little bachelor suite in Toronto, and out here, so they basically said, or Hina said, I'm going to call the cops, and I guess what I was trying to say is I called the cops, right? I was like, oh, really? So I dialed 911 and I gave her the phone. I was like, go right ahead. Because I started working security in Toronto. It's a great industry, by the way. Like, if you're going to be, like, serving customers at a Tim Hortons coffee shop or stacking shelves or something at a supermarket, and I've done all of this. I've done pretty much every kind of job out there, right? I've got a course on udemy.com. You know, you can just backtrack to my links here. All my links are under my Twitter profile if you're interested in any of this. How to land the job you want in 2 weeks. It's a very simple, straightforward process. You bypass HR. You just figure out who your boss-to-be is, and you call and email him directly, and he'll set you up with an interview with HR, or she'll actually come after you, as long as you're qualified. It's so simple. And, like, you bypass all of the resumes, the whole HR process, and literally you send out 5, 10, 20 resumes, and that's the job. Anyway, so I've done every kind of job out there, the factory stuff, you know, working at a convenience store behind the counter, stacking shelves at a supermarket, all this kind of rubbish. And my whole thing is, like, if you're going to do any of that kind of stuff, dear user, get a security license, especially if you're here in Canada. I know this for sure in Canada. Security guard, so basically I'll work at some high-end, like $150 million condominium complex. They got marble desks and all this rubbish, waterfalls and you know, bas relief, sculptures and all this kind of rubbish, and that's my office. I just sit there. I'm the guy who gets to enjoy it, and all these poor people who live there, they're just working their asses off just to pay for the place, you know. And I get the best view. I get to go to the roof, and I get a 360, and I've seen some of the best you know, scenes in Toronto. In fact, if you go to my playlist, Joys of Security, you'll see some of what I'm talking about. So you go in there, and you've got your computer and internet, and you know, you do your patrols and whatnot, and then you've got 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of downtime. And the guy who actually trained me when I originally did my security guard license back in 2011, this would be Brian McGill, ex-TPS, Toronto Police Service, 17 years, really hardcore, awesome guy. You know, his whole thing was like, Canada is too easy on criminals. But, you know, he may be right. Although the law is, you know, in Canada, there's something to be said about Canada. It is an amazing country, and it's not a coincidence that we don't have guns and crimes and the general malfeasance that you see in the States. Like, for example, just to give you an idea, in the States, the definition of assault is to touch someone or to cause something to touch them, dear user. So if your lady friend throws her drink in your face, or some dude's face, some random dude, some passerby or bystander, or if you toss a napkin at someone, you're chalking out a business plan and someone's like, this is shit, like he does the Steve Jobs things on you, the Steve Jobs thing, and he's like, this is complete shit, and you get pissed off and you toss the napkin at his face, and that's caught on camera. Technically that's assault. Touching someone or causing something to touch them. Now in Canada, you don't even need to touch anyone. If you actually, and a cop told me this, you know, York Regional Police Officer in Toronto, right? And YRP are the bomb. I really respect them. Their motto is deeds speak. Anyway, it goes a long way. Deeds speak. Anyway, he's like, well, listen, you know, I was having a fight with someone as usual, and they pull up, and I was like, you know, he pulls up and he steps out the car, and I'm like, officer, this dude is being an asshole or whatever. Salamun alaikum. And the dude is like shocked and spellbound or whatever, and the cop was pretty real, and we start talking, and he's like, well, listen, man. He's like, right now you're agitated. and whatever, and you need to calm down, because you need to understand that you can't actually interact with people like this in Canada. In Canada, he explained it to me. He's like, in the States, you need to actually touch someone in order, or cause something to touch them in order to be charged with assault. In Canada, simply being overbearing with someone, or assuming a threatening posture, or putting someone in a position verbally or physically where they feel threatened, that's assault. You know, so that's awesome, I think. Anyway, Brian McGill, he himself, he was training us to be security guards or whatever. He's an ex-cop, and he's like TPS, tampon service, Toronto Police Service. So he's like, well, listen, people have built businesses out of security jobs. You go to school, like you get the few hours of downtime, and you know, I'll be blogging or putting together customer proposals or tweeting or different things, right? It's amazing. I got a whole bunch of videos, once again, my playlist, Joys of Security. Anyway, I'm rambling right now. We need to go get the ticket. Hina basically did the cop thing, and I've been through that thing like a lot of times, right? So it's like a dude with a gun. If you have a gun, I guess it's common sense. You don't say to someone, hey, I have a gun. That's an idiot move. If you have a gun, you pull it out and use it, and you double tap and make sure you've done the job properly, or you don't say nothing. So if someone says, I'm going to punch you, that's like weakness. That's silly. It doesn't make any sense. Like a samurai would be like, what the hell? Like, what's up with that? Like, I'm no samurai. I've read the book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. I urge you to do the same. But the whole thing is like, you know, I am going to call 911. So I always advise folks, you should be the person who calls 911, right? Because that's the point in your favor. Although I've been told by a cop that he has in some instances he's charged the person who's called. So that doesn't always work in your favor, especially if you're a Sam nigger. You know, it has to be said. Might as well be said. So anyway, I'm rambling on here. But what I wanted to say is, I spent a night at the Quality Inn. What is this rubbish? This hotel that's nowhere near the airport. Quality Airport, some rubbish. And then I went back home, right? And then it was like the second time I told the cops, you know what? I'm not paying $100. No, this is my house. I shouldn't be getting kicked out of a house that my name's on the mortgage, and I paid like $2,500 as down payment and all this rubbish. But for the fact that I'm the elder dude. My younger brother's got a family, right? So I you know, you got to man up, and you got to do the right thing, regardless of whatever. You just got to do the right thing. It's not your own thing. It's what is rationally to you at least the correct thing. You know, it's what your heart and mind is telling you is the correct thing to do. Anyway, I'm rambling. So I went to a shelter downtown. You know, I've been through the shelter system in Toronto. I was telling you, I was almost going to tell you about my friend that I met who told me about eXiSteNtiaLisM, being in time. So he's the one who explained being in time to me, and it's very intense. I mean, you are simply awareness, your consciousness. You could be a disembodied spirit floating throughout the universe, is dreaming this life, right? And as you begin to increase in spiritual growth and faith, as we say in Islam, and things, you begin to perceive the world differently. I really urge you to look at my Carlos Castaneda playlist. You know what? I'm at 33 minutes here, and I think I've said enough. I just wanted an outlet, right? Because my poor wife's in a boat somewhere. She's the one I usually talk to. And unless I can get this stuff out of my system, I start to go batty. And you'll be like, well, it doesn't seem to be working. Anyway, it's worked fine. I appreciate you checking this out. I got to go downtown because I left Sammy's bike, my brother's stepson. I left his bike downtown. I just locked it somewhere, and I don't know where it is, and I'm going to go try and find that right now. But the second thing is, you know, so I stayed at the Quality Inn airport thing, and then the second time, you know, I wanted to see what it was like living in a shelter. Like these poor people out here, like what do they go through? You know, and it's a different kind of life. I mean, I gotta say, you really don't know about life unless you've been on the street or in jail or in the army. You really do not know about life. You might be one of those privileged people who have the right parents who taught you the value of things and taught you, you know, the value of time. And, you know, when you're in jail, for example, even a packet of ketchup or a packet of juice or a little styrofoam cup of coffee is a big deal. It's like you will fantasize about those things, right? Not to mention you don't have privacy. You don't have possessions. You know, whatever. It's a whole different thing. You know, I've been charged with assault here in Canada because I get into shouting matches. Thank God, God is great. I don't have a criminal record, but I've been charged with assault and I've been to jail several times. You know, God is great. My experience, you know, I've had a great experience in this world. I've seen the best of the best, highest of the highest, lowest of the lows. Worked for Computer Associates, you know, flew all over North America visiting Fortune 500 customers. You know, they have their annual CA World. It's actually every 18 months, alternating Aprils and Novembers. But in Vegas, and my wife and I stayed at the MGM Grand Hotel. We saw Cirque du Soleil, Blue Man Group, Phantom of the Opera. We spent like $1,000 on shows. I did, you know, just to make it worthwhile, a worthwhile experience. Like front row, you know, in the front row section of these shows, and it was pretty amazing, right? So I seen the top of the food chain, so to speak, in terms of a corporate career and all this kind of stuff. Now, corporate thing is not for me. It's not to say it shouldn't be for you. I mean, I believe in, obviously, entrepreneurship. Gary Vaynerchuk, I'm proud to say, follows me on Twitter. I hero worship to do, and I believe in that ethic. I do believe everyone has something to offer, and nowadays, in the age of the internet, what you have to offer can be monetized. You can blog, you can vlog, which is what I'm doing right now, like a video log, right? And you can do affiliate marketing, you can sell stuff, you can drop ship stuff, you can sell on Amazon, you can go to ClickBank, you can set up your own store. You can find people that do all the stuff for you, and you just sit back and rake in the money. Seriously, I mean, it starts at dollars at a time, but it you know, like really the starting point of what you should consider a good income is 10 grand a month, basically. I'm not quite there yet because of my travels and adventures or whatever, but I wanted to say with Computer Associates, they booked off all of Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. We had our sales kickoff there in like 2007. 3,000 CAs, Computer Associates, that is, CA.com. Sales and marketing folks. Run, my friend, run. Make destiny shine up its beautiful benevolence upon you, and grace you in all your ways, my friend. But run. Maybe one day you will make it. Whatever that is. Anyway, I'm going to go now. I'm rambling. All I want to say is that keep it real. Thank you for watching. Comments appreciated. Questions appreciated. Right? Anything about like Carlos Castaneda, spirituality, Islam, sales, marketing, branding. I'm happy to help you. I actually work for free. Like I was talking to someone else like yesterday. He's a bodybuilder, and you know, I'm trying to get him pumped up to start a YouTube channel or something. Because I mean, the dude is like the brown Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's actually my landlord, and a bit of a dicey relationship, obviously. I found when I grow too close to people, you know, I can only take so much of them, and they can only take so much of me. At a given point in time, the relationship does unfortunately deteriorate. Anyway, I'm out. Thank you so much. I'm out of stuff to say. Thank you so much for listening. And, you know, just keep it real. Keep it real. And, you know, the last thing vis-a-vis existentialism is that we, as humans, have this innate need. We have a question inside of us. The reason that we're so, you know, curious about others innately, it's a God-given attribute. The reason is because we seek to validate our experience. We seek an answer to the question, is everyone going through what I am going through? That's number one. And then number two is we're seeking to realign our value system, figure out what the correct principles for living are, right? And so that's why we're inquisitive of others, and ultimately we want to know what other people are thinking and experiencing, and therefore, ergo, we want to share what we are thinking and experiencing. And so that's what I've done here. Goodbye. Take care. Visit Calgary. Hashtag Cowtown. Vote Nenshi. Tell your peeps to vote Nenshi, alright? Please do that.